All right, guys, we are halfway into our show, and we can finally get into the conference championship games.
Yes.
That's right. Starting with the Chiefs going to Baltimore to take on the Ravens in what could truly be maybe the best game of the entire playoffs. I know Kansas City Buffalo was phenomenal, but this one opened up at Ravens favored by 3. It's now sitting at 3.5 for the Ravens, in favor of the Ravens. The total opened at 47. It's dropped all the way to 44.5, Jay. Before we get to the players in this game, Matthew, for Daily Fantasy, Jay, what do you think about that pretty significant drop on the points side of this?
So I think there's a few things going on here. Joe Thuney with the pec is unlikely to play. That hurts the offensive line. Baltimore have an extra day of rest, which helps a lot. Baltimore seem like the healthier team. Looks like they'll get Marlon Humphrey back. Mark Andrews, full participant in practice. That can only help too. And the thing with me is that I just can't get past how bad Kansas City's offense, or at least how uninspiring Kansas City's offense was, not just for a stretch, for the entire season. And my thought is not that they have just magically solved things in the playoffs. I think they played a Dolphins team that had no pass rushers left, and as we said, had to just go cover 0 over and over again. And they played a Bills team that was just missing half its defense. And so I think that is what is triggering this line movement, the idea that Baltimore's defense is just going to be too much.
I'll be quick here. I won't be surprised if Baltimore wins this game by double digits. Kansas City will have to match that physicality that Baltimore has. Baltimore's defense is not injured. Kansas City blitzed Josh Allen 10 times. Josh Allen had a field day on the ground. They're going to have a much tougher time with Lamar Jackson in that aspect.
Yeah, very, very true. I mean, like on the show we did on Monday, I took the Ravens -3 as my pick. It's moving that way. I agree with you. The Ravens, I think, are the best team in the NFL right now, and they are until proven otherwise as well. As good as the Chiefs' defense has played all year long, the one sort of Achilles heel that they've had is their run defense. I mean, the Bills last week ran all over them with Josh Allen and James Cook as well. So the Ravens, who are arguably the best rushing team in the NFL between Lamar Jackson, you'll see some Justice Hill and Gus Edwards as well. I don't know. I think given how good the defense is and how well they run the ball, feels like this is a Ravens win for us on Sunday.
Anyone in DFS, Matthew, that you find intriguing by price in this game?
I mean, I think there are a lot of people, obviously. I don't mind paying up for Lamar Jackson at 7,700, 18 fantasy points in 5 of the past 6 games. Again, we think the rushing will be there as well. You see Zay Flowers, who scored in 4 of his past 6 games dating back to the regular season as well. Pacheco is kind of interesting here. He missed practice yesterday, but said he is absolutely playing. Pacheco, of course, just massive workload, 20 touches in 4 of the past 5 games, including the playoffs. He's scored in 6 straight games, and the one vulnerability of the Ravens defense is their rushing defense. It's easy. I don't think it's easy to do anything against Baltimore, but if there's one thing, it's easier to run against them than it is to throw against them because they're so strong in the back end, especially if, as you said, they get Humphrey back.
Yep. All right, our next game here, Lions, of course, traveling to play the 49ers. This one opened up as the Niners 6.5-point favorites. It's moved to 7 points now, so things trending, 7.5 now, trending the Niners' way. The point total sits at 51 in this. Jay, looking at some of the fantasy plays, obviously this features the marquee name in Christian McCaffrey, but maybe some value after that, and whether it's a George Kittle or Brandon Ayuk as we keep an eye on Deebo Samuel's status for this game.
Yeah, I would look at Brandon Ayuk in particular. This Detroit run defense has been excellent all season. The pass defense has been, frankly, horrific and has been very vulnerable to big plays. And we know that this Niners team can obviously get you down the field. And so I think that Brandon Ayuk could be the guy I'd be targeting.
What about you, Lawrence?
For me, it's Jahmyr Gibbs. If the Lions was watching what the Packers was able to do versus the Niners in the run game last week with the better line, make this the game where you give Jahmyr Gibbs 20 touches. Only 4 games this season with Montgomery has he had 15 or more touches. That long run that Aaron Jones had that he didn't score, that's a house call for Jahmyr Gibbs. Every time he has the ball, he's got a chance to go. So I like Gibbs in the matchup.
I do as look. I agree with you on Gibbs. I'll also just say I think Brock Purdy at $6,400. This may come up in our last segment as well, just as a little hint here, but just a little foreshadowing here. But just again, the Lions have given up over 300 yards passing in 5 straight games, including to Baker Mayfield last week, including to Nick Mullins twice in the last 5 games as well. Just the secondary is bad, and I get people are going to be nervous about no Debo, but you think about how good the Lions' run defense is, and so they're very much a pass funnel offense. And I just think because Purdy looked so bad last week and no Debo, people will be off of him. And I think it's an interesting, again, because the weather will be perfect here. And he's been fine. The non-Debo games early in the year were without Trent Williams, which I actually think was a bigger concern than it was no Debo Samuel. So the fact he'll have Trent Williams and he'll have perfect weather in a game script that should favor 49ers. And I think they won't be able to run nearly as effectively against them as they will be able to throw. So I like Brock Purdy there and, Kittle and Ayuk as part of the passing attack. Yep. If Debo isn't out, Juwan Jennings becomes pretty interesting too.
Yep. I would be shocked if Purdy plays poorly in this game, just with the conditions, with the matchup. I think his moment of truth will come in the Super Bowl, and then we'll truly learn what he's made of.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest RotoWorld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.